All right, everyone. Welcome to the first ever live event here on Ham Radio Media. And for those tuning in, whether you're on YouTube or Twitter and you don't know who we are, I'm Ashley and she's Jasmin, and we are the co-hosts of Ham Radio, a Stranger Things podcast. And we also are the leaders of Ham Radio Media, our parent company, and Ham Radio and Stranger Things. And so I'm like basically the founder of Ham Radio Media, and Jasmin is like our manager. She helps with the daily operations of the company to put out the best, not only Stranger Things content for you guys, but just the best creative content as we possibly can. But before we go any further today with the live, I just want to let you guys know that this is an interactive live stream. So that means if you have a YouTube channel or account or a Twitter account and you follow us, or if you don't follow us, you can tune in and you can send us in your questions, comments about Stranger Things, or anything you want to talk about. We're here to talk about really anything and everything that we can think of tonight, which does include Stranger Things. So if you want to do that, feel free to do so, and we will do our best to answer any questions you have, or we'll read your comments. Or if you just want to say hi, we'll say hi back. So before we get into that, Jasmin is going to tell you all where you can find us on our socials and where you can listen to Ham Radio Podcast. Jasmin?
Yep. Hi, everyone. So if you're looking for us online, you can find us on Instagram at ham.radio.media, on Twitter at hamthrough, on YouTube at Ham Radio Media or at Ham Radio 1983. Actually also has fanfics on AO3, which you can tell you more about how to find. And our podcast is available on all the major podcasting platforms, so Google, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, etc. If you like the podcast, please consider leaving us a review or rating. We have a lot of totally tubular stuff coming up. So please follow us on our socials to keep up with the podcast and all of our new content.
Yes, thank you, Jasmin. But before we go further, yes, you can find the fan fiction on AO3, as Jasmin just alluded to. It's called Stranger Things College Years. However, I have not really been able to update it since like December because I have a lot of other stuff going on. But hopefully before Stranger Things 5 comes out, I will have either completed it, or I will have, gotten, some more episodes out there. But for now, there's just, or not episodes, but chapters, sorry. But right now, there's just 2 episodes. Chapters, I'm sorry. I've got the show in my brain tonight, I guess. But yeah, there's 2 chapters out there now that you can go and read that. And we'd love if you drop kudos or comment on that. So I want to begin really by number one saying that here at Ham Radio we have a recent birthday to celebrate. That would be Jasmin's. Jasmin celebrated her birthday last week, and it was actually her birthday last week, but she didn't celebrate until Sunday.
Well, I kind of did both. I did both.
Okay. And so I'm gonna play you a couple videos real quick of the birthday festivities, and then Jasmin is going to tell you some super fun stories from her birthday party. All right, just one moment to load the videos.
This is where we'd insert the Jeopardy theme if we had the rights to it.
Okay. Well, the good thing is there's no music to it, so it's just them singing a cappella. All right?
Wait, hang on. No, wait. This is blue. It's not blue.
Well, someone needs to fight it.
Okay, you want to attempt? You want to attempt it?
Sorry, I'm edible.
It's not edible? Okay.
It's edible, but do you want to eat it? It's not edible.
Okay.
Edible or just like foam
It's
that
like-
doesn't taste terrible. It's like
No, it is. I'm looking at no, it's edible.
Okay.
It's clear that she's edible. Did someone eat the Demogorgon?
Figured out it would be. I'll take all the echoes.
Take an echo?
So that was us trying to figure out if the little toppers on top of the cake were edible.
All right,
They
so-
were in fact edible.
As you clearly see, yes, there we go. Okay, so as you guys can clearly see, Jasmine, there was some hesitation to eat the decor of the cake. Jasmine, would you like to tell us why? Why did you not trust the decor? That it would just be sugar glued to a stick.
Yeah, so those are the cake toppers that were throughout the cake. And then they were stuck on, so there were cake tops like stuck at the top of it, and then there were little Eggos that were all over it. And we were unsure if they were just like decorative and they weren't actually edible, or if they were actually edible, because when we pulled them off, they were in fact edible. But they were glued to little sticks with what looked like actual glue. So the things themselves were edible, but the glue obviously was not. So we were kind of testing it to see if they were like, hardened sugar and you could eat them or not. So Natasha tested it, and then and then I did. I was like, oh no, these are edible. So most people ate the tiny Eggos, and I still have the Demogorgon because it didn't wind up getting eaten in a shocking reversal. But as you can see, I'm eating the cassette tape, and that's the cassette tape. And Natasha was eating, I think, the Hellfire logo. I think that's what she's eating. And then everybody else ate some Eggos. Let me take a look at a picture of it. I'm trying to remember what else we ate off this cake.
And while Jasmine does
that's what
that, I'm
happened,
going to get to some comments that we just received.
Oh, we're getting comments.
We have one from Starcourt Food Court. Hi, guys. They are good friends with the channel. And if you don't follow them on Instagram or Twitter, you definitely should check them out. They're very good about sharing news about Stranger Things and the actors that play in the show. And they have really good theories as well, and love it whenever we get to go back and forth on the socials with them. Then we have Coffee, the good folks from Coffee and Contemplation podcast. Hello, everyone out there at the Coffee podcast. You should definitely check them out. You can listen to them on Spotify, Google, wherever you listen to your podcasts. They are super insightful, and they've been, Robin, one of the hosts of the podcast, has been on here. And I can't remember if I been on theirs. I don't know. If this is Robin, if you could tell me if I have ever been on your podcast before, just to verify, I'd be really grateful for that, because I really can't remember. But it's always good to talk to everyone at Coffee and Contemplation. podcast. They have, as Jasmin always talks about, the best audiograms out there that you will
Not yet.
ever see.
We'll have to
Yeah,
fix
yeah.
that.
She says not yet. Okay, well that's going to change soon. We're going to be on there. So
Yeah. Big fan of the
yes,
audiograms. Big fan. And the algorithms push them to me too. Like when I'm on TikTok or I'm on Instagram, the algorithm is like, you like these things. So it pushes them. So I always know when there's a new one. So big fan of the
yeah,
audiograms.
yeah. So and also Robin, as a little side project, does a D&D podcast. So if anyone out there enjoys Dungeons and Dragons, you'll definitely want to check that out. It's called Classified. Yeah, I think it's Classified. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're talking. So yeah, I want to talk about that because Starcourt's like this doing things right. His page been really active. Yeah, like the last 2 days they've been so active. I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
They've been so active.
Yeah. We're definitely going to talk
you were
about
right.
that. And it's a good thing. It's like fate, that we do this live with going into it with like thinking there's going to be nothing Stranger Things wise to talk about except what we've kind of been wanting to talk about a little bit lately, but haven't been able to put that on an actual episode yet. And it's like this week, like almost every day, the Stranger Writers is just throwing things out there left and right and stirring up a lot of conspiracy theories along the way. So
Murray Bowman. Murray would be proud.
yes, he would be proud. All right, and we have just one last birthday video from Jasmin. We're going to share before we move on.
You get a better view of the cake in this one, actually.
Yeah, that's the same one. That's the same one.
It's like Inception.
This is our first time, folks. This is our first time, folks. Like we're gonna next time we do this, we're gonna be better. I promise.
Oh, Starcourt was saying they're wondering if it's building up to a table read video or something. I think that's likely because they did the one for season 4 before everything shut down, right?
Yeah, I think so. Let's see.
So that wouldn't surprise me. Oh yeah, that's the right video. But that wouldn't surprise me if they were building up to surprise like table read.
Oh, that would be great because I mean, obviously, I would expect them to because they do it like every season. But especially since this is the last season, and if they're going to start filming in like May or June, I would expect them to start doing that at least by April.
Yeah, they kind of have to. They kind of have to. Yeah. I can't get over the videoception of. Oh, that's great. Yes, Starcourt is correct. It would be a very emotional one. I mean, the season 4 one was pretty not emotional, but I would say like. Yeah, I feel like the lead up to season 4 before everything shut down was emotional. This will be super emotional because it's the last one, and yeah,
it'll be bittersweet for sure. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, you don't like it's really weird because I and Jasmin as well. Like we did not start watching this show back in 2016, like from the beginning. Like we came in very late to the party, so to speak. And yet it will be like, it's going to be really hard watching the final few moments, even if they are very happy, tender, sweet moments, because know that there will be no new like season 6 or whatever after it's over.
Yeah, no, Coffee's right. It's, it's because I think too, like when like, like I think because both of us got into it, I got into it after season, like in the pandemic, right? Like, because of that, like I know a lot of people followed it from like day one, or after it, became this big hit, kind of from season 2 onward. But like season 4 is really the first one we experienced, and if you look at like, you go back, and I was watching the like the videos and stuff, like when my friend and I finished season 3, we went to try and look up what information there was, because like, yeah, it's supposed to be coming out next year, and the table read, and it was like it looked like so much fun. It was kind of like the traditional marketing they've done. Like you look at the other things, and then like, yeah, like compare that to like what they were able to do in terms of like marketing, like after the pandemic hit, was very different. So it'd be cool to kind of see that traditional, like everyone's able to be around each other without masks, and just kind of the traditional stuff. That'll be cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and Star Food Court came in late during the fall of 2020. I did not realize that. Like, wow, that was during peak pandemic. I can't remember if they had even they hadn't really even started filming season 4 in the fall of 2020.
They filmed like a couple of months, I think, because I think they shut it down right halfway through March. I feel like they'd maybe filmed for a few weeks when it was shut down.
Yeah, I think they had a few delays in between there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, you guys are lucky. You got in like in the beginning.
You're gonna buy out all the Kleenexes at the Walmart.
Clinic sales will go up. If anyone's investing in clinic sales, would be a good one to invest in. Yeah, I kind of wish I'd gotten into it from the beginning. Although, like, I think we were talking this, I think, when we were on the Hellfire Collective. I think that because of the way it was marketed and the way people talked about it, like I thought it was like really horror, scary oriented, which is why I didn't watch it until now. Because everyone made it seem like it was gonna be full of jump scares and like more of a horror thing, and that's not my thing at all. So I feel like they could have marketed it better. Like people could have talked, like now when people talk about it, it's like, oh, it's this, that. Or they're like, well, it's it's not that scary because it's got kids in it, that kind of thing. So it's like, well, if I heard those kind of descriptions, several years ago, I would be like, oh, I'll check that out. But the way everyone described me, like, so scary, and then I've watched it and I'm like, like I think the first season has, I think it's got 2 jump scares with the monster, which if you know they're coming, it's fine. And I'm fine with the odd jump scare if it makes sense for the story. But yeah, that's so cool though to be very emotional when they wrap.
Yeah, that's one of the best things about Stranger Things to me is that there's not a lot of jump scares. I mean, there is some, scary aspects to it, but it's not like, you're on the edge of your seat going, what's about to jump out from that behind that door,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly. I feel like a lot of people had to be convinced, or I mean, I got into it after seeing Free Guy. I love that movie.
Yeah, like I remember watching the previews and stuff about it on Netflix back in 2016, and I remember going, because I remember was seeing 11 in the hospital again with a shaved head, and I was like, wow, that looks really weird, because I thought it was like about a psych ward or something, and I'm like, I don't really know about that, and I did not watch it for the next 3 years. I got to college.
That's the thing, though. Like that's the thing. Like it didn't really. I don't think. I mean, it was their. I think it was their first hit after Orange is the New Black. So I don't know. They knew how to market it, and it's so unlike anything else. I think when people tried to describe it, they probably. I realize now they probably spoke to the elements that they loved, right? So like, when my cousin's describing, he's going to talk about the stuff that he loves, right? Whereas, you know what I mean? Like I realize now that it's like, oh, it's kind of a hard show to describe. So even like I kind of struggle to describe it to people, so now I see it. But yeah, no, it's the pandemic was good for the show. I think a lot of people got into it in the pandemic and watched it for the first time. So when season 4 came out, I feel like there was even a bigger audience because people who had never seen it before suddenly saw it.
Yeah. Well, this is a good one.
That's a good question. You want to go first?
Oh, Jasmin, you want to go first? Yeah. You can go.
Yeah. Okay. Confidence. I do actually have confidence. I have confidence. Confidence. Jesus, confidence. In them ending in a satisfying way. And I think that comes mostly from the comments that Sean Levy has made. I love him as a director and as a producer. I love his work. And the kind of comments he's made, because I feel like sometimes showrunners can have like this inflated sense of self and you can't really trust what they say. No shade. It's just, I mean, you create an entire universe and that obviously comes with ego. But the comments Sean Levy has made really make me feel confident in that because, I think this was right after Volume 2 came out. He was saying, we never wanted to. I think it was when the announcement came out that season 5 would be the last one, like the official announcement. But him saying, we never wanted to run on fumes. We have an ending planned out. They've had an ending planned out. We want to see that through. So the fact that they've indicated there's like a Bible in terms of the Upside Down and the lore, and they had a particular ending planned out early on, and even though it's adapted, that gives me confidence because I feel like a lot of shows, the reason they don't end in a satisfying way is either they deviate so much from the original idea and then they try to come back to it and it doesn't work, or they stick with an original ending that no longer makes sense, or they randomly change out what they're doing based on what they think the fans want, or some sort of like, I like this actor, therefore. But that doesn't seem to be the case here. So I actually have quite a lot of confidence that's going to end in a satisfying way. I think also because there's obviously a lot of spin-offs and stuff in the work and the play and everything. I feel like because of that, we'll probably see spin-offs and offshoots from this show for years to come. They can go explore that, which we either do or do not have to engage in. But I feel like the original show will have a satisfying ending, and to be honest, I feel like fairly confident about that. A lot more so than I think I have with other shows. That's my thoughts on it. Ashley, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so if we're going like on a scale of like 1 to 10, my confidence is probably at 8, maybe an 8.5 right now. I think that they obviously taking their time with season 4 to write it all out, and as we know, it was the penultimate season, now going in season 5. I do think that they know where they want to end, and they've talked about it before, like how important it is to them to stick the landing, and I believe they're going to try everything in their power to do that. The only thing that really concerns me about them ending it in a satisfying way is, like, I'm really worried about them not having enough time. For me, knowing like absolutely nothing about what's going to happen in season 5, I question, are 8 episodes going to be enough?
Yeah.
If they're with there not being all an hour in length, will it be enough? I mean, and will they try to serve the fans? I think that's like probably the worst thing that they could do is give in to fan service, which I hope they don't do, and that's why. Yeah, I just hope that. You go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I totally get your fear there, but I feel like they could have done, if they're gonna do fan service, I feel like they would have done that by now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've never, at least to me, never seen any indication that just randomly doing fan service unless it like serves the story. But yeah, that's just my take on it. But continue what you were saying.
No, yeah, it's like, to me, like introducing like Callie, number 8 again. I mean, unless she's gonna all of a sudden like have a change of heart and help 11 defeat Vecna. I mean, we don't like have time to just play around with that again. And it would be kind of awkward for me if they just threw her in there and like, here you go. And I'm like, Is that
Yeah.
the best way to end the show? Is that your only option? If it is, okay, but if it's not, but yeah, I think that would be my biggest concern, would be them having enough time. But overall, I'm very confident in their ability to end it in a satisfying way. Yeah, yeah. I mean, they said that they won't be as quite as long as season 4, but I would think probably like between 40 minutes to an hour, give or
Yeah.
take. I mean, I would be satisfied with that.
Also, just to start Coach Fuka, your comment about like how people recommend stuff so much it makes you not want to watch it. I get that too.
Yeah,
Or just like stuff gets recommended, sometimes you watch things, you're like, well, that wasn't really worth the hype. I will say though, something that does set Netflix apart is of the stuff I've watched recently that people were like, oh my god, you have to see this. It was worth the watch. Like the Queen's Gambit, like that was totally worth it. Tiger King, that's insane, but it was 100% worth the watch. Like anything anyone's on Netflix where someone's like, you have to watch this, it's so good. Like someone
yeah,
personally recommended to me, it's been good. So now that I've had enough experiences of that, I'm like, oh, okay, like someone suggested, like now I'll go for it. But there's also a time I think when there was just so much on Netflix, it's kind of hard to. It was kind of like hard to choose a lot, especially when they had like a lot of, like network shows and stuff. It's like, oh my gosh. So there's just so like it's just there's so much content these days. It's like, yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree that they definitely could get into the writer's room and have a bunch of ideas and go,
mm-hmm.
we should do this, this, and this. It happens. It happens. And we'll probably be able to talk about it a little bit, but I'm currently on the writing team for an audio drama at the moment, and it really is easy to, when you're writing, even though you have an outline, to just keep adding layers and layers to your plot and go, ooh, this is good stuff. And next thing you know, you end up with, instead of like 3 episodes that you're, like for my case, like, supposed to write, then you get an extra additional episode that you are allowed to write because, you find it so long. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. Oh yeah, Netflix would absolutely love, I think Netflix would love it if they decided to go on with the show for 20 seasons. I mean,
yeah. Although I'm glad
sure they
they're
have a
not doing that.
plan. Yeah, go ahead.
I would say I'm glad they're not doing that because, as some of you may know, my previous podcast to this, where I used to co-host, was a Grey's Anatomy podcast, where I'm still a producer, and anyone who watches that show will know what I'm talking about. And that it was good. It was like really, really good for the first I'd say what was it, like 17, not even 17, like 16 seasons. Like I do mean that. I do mean that sincerely. And then they made some weird choices. And then it's like it keeps going because it makes everyone so much money. But you can tell that they've run out of steam instead of just like they basically had the perfect ending set up. And then with COVID, everything got delayed. But then even that was well done. Like they showed the pandemic in a realistic way that I was like, oh, that's really great. And then they just randomly pulled a 180 and everyone's like, nah, we're out. So I do respect, like they know, like everyone who works the show knows that if they wanted to keep it running, they could get another 20 years out of it. But I respect the fact that they're like, no, this is the ending we've been working towards. We don't want to run on fumes. And I think that's where part of my confidence comes from, like the respect to do that. Another good example of that was, I think this was Scandal, or maybe it was How to Get Away with Murder, whatever it was. I think it might have been Scandal. Anyway, I read somewhere that like ABC would have greenlit that forever, but Shonda Rhimes was like, nope, I've told the story I want to tell, and I want to move on now, and I really respect when they do that. So, yes, I think they would love the extended runtimes. I can also see it happening where they've said I think it's going to be 8 episodes, and then they get into the writers' room and they start filming this stuff, and they realize, oops-a-daisy, we have too much, and it gets split into like. We get like, I don't know, like 15 episodes and they're split into there's 2 volumes. Like I could see them, you know what I mean? Like I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Kind of like with season 4. I could definitely see that, which, I mean, if it serves the story, I'm here for. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, originally they were only going to like there was only going to be like 4 seasons, but when they got into the ride, they realized there's just so much stuff that they would have to split it into 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
True.
I mean, I'm sure it's a tough decision if you were a writer or showrunner or whatever, because that's like your baby, so to speak. But I definitely agree. Like sometimes you can get too much, where it's people lose interest, and especially this day and age. I mean, you know, with the binging and stuff. I mean, the people sit down and watch a new season in a day, and then they want something else. They want something more, and so I do think, you know, it can be a tough decision, but you know, when you know that you have your story, then that's what you have to do. So.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I could see that too. See that too. Yeah, and
which I would be glad for. I'm like, yeah, go ahead. No, I was just saying, like, I would be very satisfied with like 10 hours worth of TV time for Stranger Things.
Yeah, I also agree on that one. Because to be honest, like when we heard how long season 4 was gonna be, like I was like, oh my god, that's so long. But then you start watching it, and you're like, oh my god. Although to be fair, now that we've gone to the experience of season 4, this volume 2 took me forever to get. Took me like, I think, I don't know, like an entire day, I think, to get through, because I kept having to like get up and like get snacks and like go to the bathroom. It was like going on a hike. It's like I gotta, you know what I mean? Like it was so long. Plus, my friend was in the States, so like we weren't watching it together. Plus, I paused multiple times just to sit there for a minute and be like, "What the hell did I just watch? What the hell just happened?" And just process for a minute and then turn it back on. So now I've been through that experience. I'm like, now I know what to expect. I can prepare. So I feel like that would be easier for fans too.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's true too.
It was simple and concise. Yeah. And that's what I'm really looking forward to. And speaking of which, you know, the Twitter account, Stranger Writer Twitter account, posted like that season 5 is like if season 1 and season 4 had a baby. So that's it really is exciting to go back to their roots.
Yeah. Speaking of the Twitter account, I saw the season 5 tweet, and then for some reason, I don't know, the notification didn't go off. Twitter is dying. But the whole like, is there anything important about today? Woke up feeling like there was, we can't remember, the whole birthday gate thing. Like nothing, and all of a sudden, like they're bringing birthday gate back, man.
Yeah.
Ooh,
it's hip
that's
again.
A good question. Do you want to answer that, Ashley?
No, I'm definitely gonna. No, I was gonna say to answer Coffee's question. Like, I'm gonna probably string it out over the weekend. It just depends, you know, if I can get together with friends and watch it. But I'll definitely, if they split it into parts like they did for season 4, I'll definitely divide it up like over the weekend, depending on when it comes out. I assume it would be like a Friday, like it usually is. So yeah. I'm gonna go answer the phone real quick. I'll be right back. Okay. You keep them entertained. Okay.
There she goes. To answer your question, I don't know. I think it depends. Like when volume 1 dropped, my friend and I that I watched with, like she'd seen it before, and then we rewatched together because she couldn't remember half things that had happened. Because I mean, at this point, like season 1 had come out like years prior, and then so we binge watched like most of volume 1, and then it was like really late at night, so we had to go to bed, and so I got up and went to her house like the next morning, and we finished watching volume 1. So we binge watched it in 2 days. And then she was in the States with volume 2, so I binge watched it in like a day, and so did she. So probably wound up binge watching just because when I I watch that show. I just can't. Like, I gotta know what happens. So probably binge watch. Even though it'd probably be better to take it slower and savor it, but yeah, I would probably wind up binge watching. That is most likely what I wind up doing. Yeah, we're gonna talk about birthday date next, but we're waiting for her to come back. Yeah, the Star Wars comment. Yeah, binge watching and being depressed when it's over. Yeah, I think there's going to be a bit of that. Like, it's going to be so awesome and so epic, but then when it's over, it's going to be really like sad. It's going to be very bittersweet. Like, we're going to be so happy that I think we're all going to be really happy with the ending that we wanted, but then really sad that it's over and that there is going to be no more. So I think it's going to be like a mix of emotions. I don't know if any of you saw the. I haven't seen the full interview, but Gaten Matarazzo was on. Was it on Jimmy Fallon, and he was asked about that. He's like, "Yeah, it's gonna be bittersweet, you know." Just we start rewatching the show, right? Yep, definitely. I'll definitely go back to season 1. But his joke too about how like it's been, it's been a journey. I've grown up on the show. It's been like my entire teenage years. But also like job security. Like all of these people have had a job for like almost like coming like what like I guess what the first like coming up on like I was gonna say a decade. Like it was what 2016 I think. Correct me if I'm wrong actually, but 2016 was when season 1 I think came out. If I'm not wrong on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they would have filmed that in 2015. So yeah, that
I graduated
been...
high school. Like I graduated high school like 2 months before it came out.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. So I think it'll be interesting too. I'm excited though to see what all the cast members go on to do, and I know people have predictions about like where who are they gonna be the big stars coming out of it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I know my friends, I definitely have predictions. I don't know. And I'm interested to see like what they go and do, what projects they work on, and like 10 years from now when they do a reunion or something where everybody what everyone's gone on to do. That being said, I do think this is a show just because I think obviously like season 4 was a special case because I mean it's filmed during the pandemic and they filmed what I think 364 days or something crazy like that. That was a special case, but I think outside of season 4, the cast was able to do other things, and the people working the show were able to do other things. So it's not like they've only been doing this. I think that's the benefit, right? If you're on like a network show, you've only been doing this for most of those people, or and maybe a movie in between. But for this show, I mean, they've been able to do other things, and a bunch of them are in college now, or they've got their own businesses. So I think it's cool they're doing other things too. So it's not like just the only thing they have. So I'm excited to see where everybody kind of goes and who becomes like they're all big stars, like the biggest stars. But I mean, what kind of movies or TV shows or things they all become known for.
Yeah, and speaking of which, this is like something that I just like thought about the other day. But like, who do you think is the first to like either win an Emmy or an Oscar? Millie Bobby Brown or Sadie Sink? Because it's like after season 4, like they're both like people have put them against each other, I guess. But it's just they're both incredibly talented, and they have such good acting range, but yet neither one of them have like won any significant hardware.
No, I know, and
everybody was expecting. What do you think in the comments, everyone?
I was expecting, talk out in the comments. I was expecting. I know people had tweet stuff prepped for Sadie to win at the last round of like award shows, and she didn't, and everybody was like super shocked. So I mean, I feel like because of her most recent work, I feel like out of season 4, like City definitely should have won a bunch of stuff for that, and it's a crime that she didn't. So in terms of who, like, I feel like who deserves to get it first, I feel like Sadie, just because like she wasn't recognized for the recent work she did, and she should have been.
Yeah.
Is she going to get it? I don't know. Are they going to snub her again? But at the same time, like Millie's also equally talented. So like if she got it first, I wouldn't, that would be great too. I could just I think because it's like the recent work Sammy said has been more kind of like this emotional kind of gut punch, or like more Oscar things that tend to win more Oscars and Emmys
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. Also she's been on Broadway, so I could see her also possibly winning a Tony for something. So I feel like she has more opportunities to maybe get
Yeah.
an award. That would be cool as well.
Yeah. And I
So yeah.
agree. I agree with Jasmine and with Coffee here. Like I would love for both of them to,
Mm-hmm.
at some point win, but I do think that who would probably win first. It won't be Sadie, only because she has more experience on Broadway and things like that. And like, I mean, this is no offense against. Yeah, I know, definitely he deserves that. But
My friend saw that.
like,
That was great.
and this is like no offense against like Millie Bobby Brown. Like, I mean,
No, not at all.
I don't even know her personally or anything like that. So I feel like I do because she like lives in Atlanta part time, so we're like this close to one another. But whatever. But anyway, but if you look at what Millie Bobby Brown has done in the past in her career, the present, and
Mm-hmm.
like what she has coming up in the future, it's like what they you could consider quote unquote cash cow stuff, which is like blockbuster films, a lot of
Yeah.
stuff with CGI, and historically those don't typically win out the Academy Awards or the Emmys, as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
like films like The Whale,
Yeah, that's
for
that's what I
instance,
was thinking.
and
Like I think.
that's why
Sure.
I think sorry, but that's why I think Sadie would probably be they're both very young. They have a long life, hopefully, and
Mm-hmm.
long careers ahead of them.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like I think Sadie for sure.
Yeah, I think Sadie, and I agree. I think like, and again, Millie Bobby Brown's acting is incredible. Nobody else could play 11. Nobody else could do it as well as her. Um, but I agree. I think she's probably more likely to win for producing or directing or something kind of behind the camera, and then maybe get her award wins. The Enola Holmes films are great as well. Although I actually haven't seen. I've seen clips of them. I've actually never seen all of them in full.
Oh yeah,
Um,
you should definitely watch them. They're like
yeah,
really good. You won't be disappointed.
no, they're on the list. That's the thing. Like, there's so much content now. You put something on your list, and people are like, "Oh yeah," and you're like, "Oh, I gotta watch that," because you add so many things to your list, and then you're like, "There's like 300 things." You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
but anyway, I agree. I think that I feel like Miller's probably going to continue to be in more like blockbuster stuff, which is going to be awesome. Like that's just really fun to watch. And so again, like no shade, there's different types of cinema. But she'll probably win her major awards probably later on her career. You know what I mean? When she gets like something that's very
Yeah.
Oscar baity. That being said, I agree. I think Sadie. I mean, first of all, Sadie should have gotten an Emmy. First of all, she should have already won. So if they don't give it to her, if they turn it into Leonardo DiCaprio, I'll be mad about that.
Ugh.
But yeah, I think she's more
Well,
likely
too
to
bad.
win sooner.
Yeah, well, to like what you're saying
Yeah,
about like I do agree that Sadie should have definitely been nominated at least for her work in season
yeah,
4, but sadly, I think what really overshadowed her performance, maybe particularly in the eyes of the award committee is the music and the CGI, the special effects, specifically in episode 4, because that's what most people like talk about. They talk about the music, and while that is a good moment, it does take away from her performance because, you know, and I'm not an expert on this stuff, but this is just what I've kind of read up on, is that, you know, with the Academy or these, you know, award committees, they don't look at, you know, the music and all that when they look at an acting performance. They're looking for your performance, and I would say they would probably think the music and the special effects, you know, lifts up the performance rather than just being a raw, organic performance, which is unfortunate because she does such a great job in season 4, and really ever since she's been on the show, but definitely in season 4.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And sorry, I'm trying to remember what my point was. I completely lost my point. Where's it going to say? Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, that was my point. So that, like, I think, they look at the performance, which is a shame. Especially, that's what I was going to say. So, I don't know if anyone out there watches Only Murders in the Building, that show. But, like, also, like, there's a lot of snubbing that goes on that's just kind of random. I think there is an element of sexism to that. The reason I say that is that show got nominated, I think it was the same year, and Steve Martin and Martin Short got nominated, and Selena Gomez did not. Which, like, they themselves were like, she's an integral part of the show. We don't understand why our show is being honored. They got honored in all these categories, but she did not get nominated, which makes no sense if you've ever seen that show, because, like, there are 3 main characters. Like, she's not a side character, there are 3 mains. So I also think that because, obviously, I mean, the Oscars is, like, all the award shows are made up of predominantly white men, right? So they nominate people who look like them. So I also think there's an element of that, because you see, not that the men that win don't deserve to be honored. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, like, there's lots of cases, especially that award show. I remember that being a big thing where it's like, oh, you know, well, the men got nominated, or this, you know, the special effects got nominated, or the show got nominated, but not the actors. And everyone who watched that thing is like, what, like, did we watch the same show? Because this actor, this person was integral to the show. So I will say that as well. I think there is definitely a big element of that as well, which, you know, should definitely change.
So, Robin at Coffee wants
I
to
haven't
know if
decided
anyone
yet.
is singing Marmalade. What is that?
I haven't
Is that
decided yet.
a movie or?
Yeah, that's the movie that Joe
show?
Keery, right? I believe so.
Oh yeah, that one he was filming. He started filming that last year in Minnesota.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
Well, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah.
Wherever it comes on, if it's in theaters or streaming.
Yeah.
Joe Keery is one that I really hope has a breakout acting career after Stranger Things is over. Him and Natalia Dreyer, I think.
I think
they're just such talented. What?
I said they need to be in a rom-com together or something. Like, they need to be in a project that spotlights them. Like, I agree. They deserve to have breakout careers. Like, yeah.
It's currently in post, so it won't be that much longer.
Yeah. But I agree. Of the people we've kind of, my friends and I have kind of taken bets on who's going to have the breakout careers. We're like, Joe Keery. One thing I love about the show is that it's revived Winona Ryder's career, which is awesome. So I wanted to see her get, like, a bunch of more roles. That'd be interesting. Definitely
she's
Brown.
Yeah, Winona is going to be in the new Haunted Mansion movie.
I
think the teaser trailer. Yeah, I think it's on Disney Plus.
Like, based off the Rider, or are we talking about a different thing?
Yeah, Winona Ryder is the Haunted Mansion. You ever seen that movie on Disney? Yeah. They're making a remake.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
cool. Okay, no, I had not
a
heard of
teaser
that.
out. Yeah. Yeah, there's a teaser. The teaser trailer
Oh, I
is
should look
out.
that up.
So definitely gonna watch that.
Yeah, no, that definitely. Yes, that's very true. That's very true, Starcourt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to say, too, like, season 4 changed some things because I have to say that, like, in terms of, like, prior to season 4, I would have said, like, Joe Keery, Winona Ryder, Millie Bobby Brown, and then second to that, David Harbour out of, like, the breakouts. But after season 4, I'm like, oh, definitely Sadie Sink. So I'm interested to see how we come out of season 5. Is there going to be somebody on the cast that, like, pulls a Sadie Sink and is like, oh my God, she should have got the Emmy? Like, is there someone whose performance is going to pull that in terms of being spotlighted? Because it's not that the other actors, like, you know what I mean? Like, if, like, Gaten Matarazzo became, like, any actor on that show, I'd be like, oh my God, that's so great. Like, they're all so talented. There's not a bad actor on that show, which is very rare. But yeah, like, I'm kind of curious if, you know what I mean? Is somebody going to be spotlighted next season? We're going to be like, oh my God, look at the range. I'm really curious and excited about that, and to see kind of who becomes the breakouts. And yeah, I agree. Joe Keery definitely needs to break a role. So does Natalia Dyer. They're both extremely talented. And I want to see them do more like blockbuster stuff because there's been a lot of indie things outside of Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100% agree.
All right, so we got a pretty big announcement for Ham Radio. We Jasmin, you want to tell them about our Discord?
Yes. Do you want to? Can you show them the Discord while I talk about this?
Yeah. I try to pull it up.
Okay. Okay, we're actually working on that. Yeah, so we are, as we've been saying, we have a lot of cool stuff coming up. I hadn't
I
heard that
forgot
either,
about
man. So
yeah, my hawk is definitely.
Yeah.
My hawk is definitely.
She was good in Do Revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so behind on my movie news, man. I need to Google the actors. I'm so behind on my movie news. But like we're talking about, like who's gonna have the next big thing. I'm so behind on my movie news. My hawk is also fantastic. That's the thing. There's no bad actors. Like every time you're like, oh man, yeah, like they're all just fantastic. She was amazing in Do Revenge. But yeah, the Discord server. So we have been working hard on creating a Discord server for the podcast, which is going to be super awesome. We've had it up and running for a while, but we've just kind of been testing some stuff out with some of our fellow Stranger Things podcast hosts. And it is finally going to be ready to share with everybody, to share with our fans. So we are super excited about it. It's going to be a place to share theories, fan art that you find, music. We're gonna do like a mailbag section where, if people, sometimes they send us emails or they message us and we can read comments. That's a good place for ideas. If it's something you want us to cover or look at before season 5 starts filming or is released or after, or a theory you want us to cover or a topic, it's gonna be a really good place for that. And I've gotten really into Discord lately. I'm on other server for Scanty fans. Yeah, we are super, super excited about the Discord server. Ashley, is there anything I haven't mentioned that we should add?
Yes, we will be updating the Discord link to our Linktree page. I'll try to do that by the time we get done here, not tomorrow, so that all you have to do is just go to that link in our bios on Instagram or Twitter, wherever, and you just go in there, click on Discord, and click on that link, and you will be added as the server. But if you would like it right now, all you have to do is send an email to hamradiomedia@gmail.com, and we can get you the link sent. I think that's let's get on the Discord. But as Jasmin was saying, we do have some of our wonderful podcast friends like Coffee here who are already on there. We've already been chatting good stuff on there. And yeah, it was a place that, we were like, not that, there's anything wrong with Twitter or Instagram or anything like that, but I mean, there's a lot of spam of certain relationships that will not be named here that can kind of be a little much sometimes. But we just wanted a place where everyone just go and just have a conversation about Stranger Things and not have to worry about, likes or dislikes on it or anything like that. And also, it's a good way for us to continue to promote our stuff, our shows, and for our fellow Stranger Things podcasters to promote their stuff as well. Which, once you can go and, you can chat with them, ask them any questions you'd like to do. I'm sure they would love to chat with you about Stranger Things or anything else. So yeah, we'll have the link. The Discord, we'll post it on our socials and all that good stuff. But if you'd like it right now, just send us email hamradiomedia@gmail.com and we'll get it to you. Yeah, I'm sure you do, because I know you post a lot about how dumb that is. But of course, I'm talking about Byler. Okay, I didn't want to say that, but that's what I'm talking about, and that's why. Yeah, but I will say you can come and talk about Byler on the server if you want, but all we ask is that you don't spam the server with that, or you don't get into fights about it. That's the only thing that we ask. But you can come and try to convince everyone it's a thing and it's going to happen. It's okay. We're fine with that. But please don't be like all day, every day, Byler, 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 Byler. Like, please don't do that. But anything else?
Ashley has strong feelings about this.
Yes, Jasmin, you know this, and also Russia. Definitely, if you
to be fair,
up
they were
the
talking
Russia
about the
plot
plot, not the
in our
country as a
server.
whole. The way you said that.
Yeah, we're not talking about the country, but if you bring up the Russia plot of season 4 in the server, you'll probably be kindly asked to leave. I'm kidding. I just will mute you so I don't have to see that, because Jasmin knows. I'm sure if you've listened to our podcast, you already know my thoughts on that, and I just want to move on. I just want to leave that behind me and never think of it ever again. So that's all I'm going to say about that on this live chat.
Oh.
Oh yeah, that's our plight too. It's just it's like, there's certain people that you just can't convince otherwise. I mean, and that's unfortunate that there will be all, we hate the Duffer Brothers because Mike and Will didn't go on a date. Like, well, what did you think they were? I mean, did you think that 11 wasn't going to be there? I mean, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. But no, I totally understand that. That's why we try our best to say it's okay to, have theories about whatever you want to theorize about, but just as long as you keep the realization in your mind that it might not happen, or at least not the way that you think it should. Yeah, I hope they all live, to be honest with you. I mean, like, to me, that would, you asked about a successful ending, I think that would be the most successful one of all. Would just have them all make it out alive. And I do hope that Will does have a happy ending, um, and finds presumably a young man that he knows reciprocates the same feelings as he does. I hope he does get that. The same like with Mike and 11. I hope they end up happily ever after. So, all right. So, yeah. Thanks. So you want to do the show them the website now?
Yeah,
Or
I was trying to pull it up and
what-
it won't let me log in. If you can get it pulled up, I can.
Yeah, I think it's because I'm logged into it right now, so it's
Oh,
probably
that would be why if
yeah.
you're logged in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do too.
I would agree with that, Starcourt. If you listen to the podcast, I've talked about this, and this they jokingly said, "Oh, we're not adding any more new characters," which big pet peeve here. Right after volume 2 of season 4 came out, people were posting quotes that the Duff brothers had said on Twitter and other places, as if they were like facts. And I don't know if any of you have actually listened to the interviews those things come from. They're quite lengthy, but I have listened to them, and they are laughing and joking with the interviewers most of the time. So I don't know why everyone takes like some stuff. It's like, yeah, if they're being serious when they said it, okay, we can take that as fact. But a lot of the things people quote, they were joking around the interviewers. So I just find it very weird that people are like, they said there are going to be no new characters. No, the interviewer made a comment, and they were like, haha, yeah, no more new characters, haha.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to this
There's
point,
definitely going to be some. Like, there's definitely going to be some. I mean, they'll probably die, or we'll never see them again. But I mean,
either that.
You know, one of the great things that I love about Stranger Things is that the town of Hawkins itself is a character. So each season, we see something new in it, and so if what Vecna showed Nancy about monsters going into the neighborhoods, like we're probably going to see new people in neighborhoods that we never knew existed before. So there's going to be like new characters. They just probably won't, I mean, be there the whole time. So
yeah, I agree. I think there's going to be probably new side characters like that. I think there's also a good chance we could see. I could see characters we'd seen in the past, like the bullies from the first few seasons, like get caught in kind of the fray of like Hawkins, like monsters are everywhere. Like we might see people come back. You know what I mean? Like they come back to visit their families because, as far as I know, there was just a massive earthquake. That kind of thing, or seeing characters in flashbacks. I've talked about this on the podcast, but the only significant new character I want to see that I want to live is I really hope that, like you said, I hope that Will gets a love interest, like someone that can love him back, another classmate, and then we kind of see part of that journey like we did with Robin last season. That's the only like new significant character that I really think needs to be added in terms of like a significant character with significant screen time. I do agree that like they shouldn't be adding like a pile of new characters, but some minor characters to push the story forward plus a love interest makes sense to me. But I agree. I want the characters to get their happy endings, and for them all to make it out alive. And yeah, I mean, I think it has to be enough for people. Yeah. Yeah, that's
and
very
I agree with I agree with Coffee here that until the scripts are like turned in and the rough draft turns into a final draft, everything's up for fair game. And even as Jasmin and I have noticed while we're doing our script breakdown of Chapter 7, The Massacre at Hawkins Lab, that series, we've noticed that there's even stuff that they change during filming that isn't in the script. So it's not set in stone until it's put on film, on the tape. So
they're edited. I mean, it's literally really what we see on screen, right? Because there's things they
Yeah.
edit or they add things to, or they, they pick a particular take, or because I feel like they've said this. I can't remember exactly when they said this, but sometimes you film something, then you watch it back, and you're like, oh my god, that wasn't what we were thinking, but that's so great, or that's an amazing take, or well, these takes didn't work out, but this one did, so we're going with that. Those kind of things happen. So yeah, until it's
Yeah.
on screen, until it's released on Netflix, it's not canon. Yes. Yes, exactly.
And so
Exactly, Papa.
yeah, and so for those of you who may not know this, but Maya Hawke during the filming of season 3 actually approached the Duffer Brothers about making Robin a lesbian because she thought it would be really good for her character, and she like wrote stuff like on her shoes, on Robin's shoes that she wears in season 3. That was Maya Hawke's doing. They did not plan any of that. That's what Maya Hawke suggested to them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that would be really cool." So yeah, I totally agree. Like, even it's sometimes an actor gives their input and they roll with it. So yeah, until it gets to your screen, nothing is set in stone in filmmaking.
And I think the other probably the more famous example of that is Joe Carey and Steve's character. Like, the original character was
Yes.
so different, and then
Yeah, he was supposed to
brought such
die too.
humanity. Yeah, he was supposed to die, and like something that Gayton said in that recent interview, I thought was really spoke to this. He said, I think Jimmy Fallon asked him, what do you want for what do you hope for Dustin? And he admitted, he's like, I've never really put too much thought into that. That he trusted Duffer Brothers, and that now's a good time to start. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. But yeah, that like just he just wanted to start, and he said that the Duffer Brothers have always really trusted them as actors to intuitively play the scenes they felt the way that they should be played, and I think you really see that because a lot of the choices, like you said, Maya Hawke having that suggestion, Joe Keery, giving Steve a lot of heart. And creating like a very three-dimensional character from something very one-dimensional. But even in Charlie Hatton, like the way he played off of him, like those scenes are their characters come across very, very differently than their original intention, and they're so much better for it. And the characters have so much more depth because the actor were like, I feel that I should be playing it this way, or I want to try this. And they ran the tapes back and they're like, wow, that's so much better than what we had. Let's do that. So agreed. Like until it's on your screen, it really isn't. Like it's not over till it's over. You know what I mean? Like it's,
Totally. And to what Starcourt was saying here, the upside down stuff is a big concern of mine as well, because while they've said we are going to go into a little bit more in depth, and we're going to find out a lot of what it is, I still don't think we're going to get everything, and that's where I think the spinoffs will come into play. I think we're going to learn more about the lore of the Upside Down through the spinoffs, because I think one of your main goals in season 5 is to defeat Vecna once and for all, and get the Upside Down out of the town, and from spreading all over the world. So I think that will definitely be a tall task for them, and the good thing is they get paid really good money to do that. So
figure it out.
I'll let them have that. So I'm going to show you guys our website really quick, and then we're going to talk about the Stranger Things play, because it's something Jasmin and I have really been wanting to talk about, but we haven't been able to put that into an episode to do that. So we thought, hey, let's do it on the live and talk about it, because we do have thoughts. Okay. So here, it's coming up.
I just have to laugh because we're talking about how much we trust the writers, and I do. But if anybody saw the tweet that they put out like an hour ago, I don't know if you've seen it, but
Probably not.
it's literally to the Stranger Writers account. It is like, we were gone for 6 hours today and came back to find our writers had accomplished this, and it's just a picture of like two of the main characters from Dawson's Creek, and then two giant circles with X's in the middle that look like boobs. Like, that's it. That is the entire tweet. And the fact that they said, like, they're like, we came back to our writers, that feels like the Duffer Brothers, honestly. I'm like, I love how we're talking about how much we trust the writers, which I do. I honestly do. But then, like, that's their tweet that came out like an hour ago. They're like, this is what the team got accomplished today. They made circles look like
That's
boobs
great.
and a picture of
Good.
Dawson's Creek. That's what they accomplished today.
You have to really appreciate. You have to really appreciate their sense of humor.
Yeah, and like that could be legit. Like maybe all they did was brainstorm today, or they could be messing with us and they legit just finished like script 4 or something. Like you don't know. That's the thing. Until it all comes out, you really don't know. Are they messing with us? Did they really get nothing done today? Who knows?
Yeah, and as you can see here, this is a wonderful website that Jasmin has put a lot of work into. It looks super awesome. There's a super sweet logo. Look here, it'll take you right to places you can listen to us. And one of the best images of this entire show. It's actually a lot harder to get pictures of Cerebro than you might think it is.
Yeah, it's very hard, actually.
Got repping of the YouTube channel. And then here's all our latest Instagram posts. And see right down here, toolbar. And this like automatically updates like every time we post on Instagram. So you can just go in here and see what we posted on Instagram. It takes a little bit longer for this page to come up in the editor site because it hasn't been published yet. So yeah, he says thank you, Star Court. Thank you, 11. And then you have our about us, like what we do, who we are. There's our beautiful face. That's Brendan. He's our producer. He kind of works in tandem with me to produce the show, and he helps with some of our edits as well. Brendan was gonna pop in on the show a little bit, but he's like he's an hour behind us, so he had worked late and he couldn't be here. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But he said next time that he would comment, and I said, oh, thanks. How nice of you. Yeah, and Brendan and I went to college together, so that's kind of how we met. And he's a really good friend of mine. He lives in Birmingham, Alabama now, and he works in IT, so he gets paid a lot more money than I do. But super fortunate to have him part of our team. And there's our little bios there. You can see, check out more about us, who we are when we're not on Cerebro. And then there's some more of will come up some of our episodes that you can flip through here. It'll come up our latest episodes, all that good stuff, and our contact info if you want to shoot us a line. Yeah, and you can see here, it always shows our latest episode. So you'll always be up to date.
Yeah, and the site updates, like as you were saying, the site in terms of podcast episodes and YouTube videos and Instagram and all that stuff populates automatically. So the website will always be up to date when it's launched, which is super, super cool. Um, and if you want to show them the exclusives page, we can kind of talk about some of the stuff we have upcoming. Oh, look, there's us. It's like
Yeah.
live Inception.
Yeah, and there we are. We're live right now. So you'll always be able to come to our website. If you ever want to check out the YouTube channel, which I haven't really been able to make many videos lately because I've been, busy with other stuff. But yeah, again, hopefully by the end of the year I'll be able to, and also because, I'm trying to hold out for as much season 5 content as humanly possible. Yeah, and this is our exclusive content page. It's like all the other stuff we have going on, as we just discussed, our Discord server. You'll be able to click on all these and it'll take you right there. Also, here's our fan fiction, link to our fan fiction. But here's the big one right here in the middle. That is our Patreon page, which we're still working on getting all that up to speed. But once we do, we'll definitely let you guys know more about that. We're really, really looking forward to the Patreon. That's going to be really fun. It's going to be a lot like this is, the live, and in that we're going to be doing a lot of cool extra stuff. Talking about some true crime. Jasmine and I both love true crime. Talking more 80s themes. A little bit more up close and personal content on the Patreon, which again we'll get more details out to you guys as they come. So that that is our website. We also we're thinking maybe a TikTok, but TikTok right now, it might not even be a thing. And soon enough. But so it's kind of one of those hold your breath and wait type of things. But if we are able to do that, we'll have a TikTok. But yeah, all this is just to continue to not only grow our podcast, but to grow our brand, because one of my goals for Ham Radio Media has been for a while to eventually, once Stranger Things is over, whatever that may be, is to branch out and produce different podcasts of like different genres, and different things like that, and more exclusive content, and maybe even to help other indie podcasts produce their work, and all that good stuff. So it's the Ham Radio Media brand will probably be around for as long as Jasmine and I put life into it. But yeah, it's just, this is kind of us attempting to branch out. So we're really super excited about the Patreon and the Discord and the website, which will let you guys know when all that is available. And yeah, so
I was just reading Starcourt's comment about they're wondering who runs the writer's account. Yeah, that's a good question. My impression has kind of been it's like somebody within the writer's room. Like I don't think it's an intern or something, because I don't know, from a comms perspective, you can kind of tell when that's the case. I think it's somebody from within the writer's room. But then I'm like, I wonder if it's something that they all have a login for, and they decide what they're posting. Because I mean, like, I don't know, the post from today, it's like that to me screams the Duffer Brothers. But other posts, I'm like, that seems to be somebody random on the team. Other things that seem to be more planned. Or I don't know, maybe there's like a comms person that's sitting in the room with them, or that comes by and is like, I don't know. But to me, I don't know. It seems like some stuff I'm like, okay, their comms manager came up with that. That's really cool. Other stuff I'm like, that's literally just a thought they had today. Or they were like, hey, we're going to post this. Or like, hey, what do we need to blur? And they blurred it. Or like the Duff Brothers came in and they're like, all right. And they just took a picture of that and they were like, let's post that. So I don't know. It feels very like part of it feels planned and part of it feels organic. So my kind of take is it's like some, I don't know. I don't even get the impression it's a lesser tier writer. I think it's just a writer or either something they all have access to. That's kind of my
Yeah.
take. Yeah, that's kind of my take.
A
Let's
staff
see.
writer, probably.
Yeah, a staff writer probably. I hope they kind of reveal who it was. I would love that. When like everything has
Yeah,
come out,
me
they'll be
too.
like, "Who ran the account?" And they're gonna be like, "It was me. It was this person." That would be cool. Or they're like, "Oh yeah, we just kind of like picked a person each week, or we just kind of posted when we felt like it, or we all had access to it." Let's see. Ashley, you want to take this one?
Yeah. So, do you mean like what's currently that we know is going to be a spinoff, or what type of spinoff would we like to see? Because I tell you, like, I wish I could get on a plane and fly to London to watch the play. I think that one's. I just want to see like how much how much canon it is, uh, what it's going to be about, and all that good stuff. I really enjoy the Henry Krill stuff, the Krill side of things that we got in season 4. So I definitely would love to see that. But a spinoff that I would really love to see would be like Dr. Brenner. I would love to see him as a younger man, like who he was, how he, what his backstory is, how he got to the lab and stuff. I mean, we might see that in season 5. I doubt that, but I would really love to see on that, or you know, maybe see. I would love to see a spinoff with Eleven's mom. I thought that would be pretty interesting as well, to see her in the lab, and all that, and just get more background on her, which again we might get in season 5. I don't know, we might. That's what I would say.
Like a
Jasmin?
prequel series. That would be cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
But not do what they did with Star Wars, which was a disaster. Like an actual good prequel series. And I'm not hating. I'm just I agree. In terms of a spin-off, I agree. Like what they've announced. I mean, I don't know if I'd go see the play if it was playing here. So Ashley's in the US, obviously. I'm in Canada. I don't know, just because from what they've announced, it's like it doesn't sound particularly. They've said it's canon, but from what they've announced, I'm like, is it though? So I'm not super excited about the play. Like I like the Henry Krill stuff. It's just that the little blurb they put out about it. I'm like, well, they never mentioned Bob having a sister. We don't see anything about that after he dies. If you didn't know anything about the show and you read that, it made it sound like Henry Creel, Joyce, Hopper, Lonnie, and Bob were all at school at the same time, which they would not have been. Like, he would have been in middle school, but they would have been in high school. That timeline doesn't fit. And I don't think that they're gonna change that. It's just that the way they phrased it. Plus, they changed Joyce's last name, which is weird. Like, to be honest, just from what they've described, I'm kind of like I'm not super into that. Plus, one of the writers attached to it that they're working with is the same one of the people that worked on Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which I have seen because somebody that my dad knows got tickets, and the special effects on that show were amazing, but the story itself did not feel like Harry Potter. That's a whole other story, but that just I'm not super excited about it. So not that. I know they've talked about that spin-off as something to do with Tokyo. It's supposed to be an animation. That might be cool. I might be into that. If I was into a spin-off, I'd like to see. Very unlikely on this one, but I'd love to. Like when they announced season 4 that we are going to hear more about Hopper's backstory, a lot of people predicted or thought that it was going to be like more about him and Joyce when they were younger. And I was really excited for that. And while I loved Hopper's storyline, I did actually like the Russia plot. And I like his speech that, Dear Heart, like I sat with this thing for 3 years, was amazing. What we did get, I loved. I was a little bit disappointed that it was all like go, go, go. And like, I was expecting more flashbacks or like meaningful conversation between Joyce and Hopper about stuff that had happened in the past or more kind of that backstory, because I find that really interesting. I'm hoping we're going to get more of that in season 5, as I know a lot of people have said are hoping for more kind of family moments with the kind of Byers Hopper family, that we didn't get really much of that in season 4 compared to all the other seasons where, I mean, the relationship between Joyce and the boys is like the main thing of like season 1 and 2. And then the relationship between Joyce and, or rather Hopper and Al is the kind of the main theme of season 3. I would like to see a return to that in season 5. But if I wanted to spin, the spin I would like to see is like their time. What happens before we meet them? Do you know what I mean? Like back when all those characters would have been in high school, or just their younger years. There isn't much of a story there, I realize, but I would just like to see it. It's not action packed like the Upside Down, but I would just like to see that. So that's what I would like to see if I was creating a spinoff.
Totally. Jasmine, would you like to tell them about the giveaway?
Oh, yes, I can get into that. So we are going to be doing a giveaway. We're trying to time it, I think, when I think there's more like big season 5 news or something like that, or on the launching of our other stuff. But I'm trying to decide if I should show it to people or not. But well, I guess I can just kind of show what it's in. That might be useful. So it's in this. That's all I'm going to show you for now. But we do have a giveaway that is coming up that is going to be pretty cool. But some stuff that you can't get anymore. So I think we're doing kind of a giveaway in terms of like reviews and stuff. But yeah, that is the mystery package, and that will be coming up very soon in the next. It looks like we're going to get season 5 probably filming news in the next couple of months. So at some point in the next couple of months, along with our launch of our website and the Patreon and the Discord. Curious. Yes. So there's much stuff coming up. Much stuff. There are many things. It's a big curiosity door. So that is upcoming, and we are very excited. We've been working very, very hard on those things. So we are super excited to be able to share them very soon.
Yes, and eventually we'll get to a point where, we can give away like big stuff like appliances and Florence by Mills products and, all the good things in life.
Yeah,
replica Demogorgons. That's why it's important that you support.
We can give away ovens. Yes, absolutely. All those ovens we have in storage that we are just waiting.
Yes, in the warehouse. They're in the warehouse.
They're in the warehouse. It's a giant warehouse, and we really got to move these things. So,
Yes.
for all of the appliances for all your Eggo needs, all those toaster ovens for your Eggo needs, we have in storage.
Jasmine, is there anything else you would like to talk about?
Opinions on birthday gate. I'm curious if anyone in the comments has win a ski jet. Was it you get a car, you get a car, you get a car, you all get a car. We're giving away ovens and cars and jet skis. So all support the channel because there are big things coming. You win a jet ski.
Yes. You can ride on Lover's Lake.
Yeah. No expense. You know what? You get an all expense paid trip to Hawkins. There we go.
Yes.
That's recording not included. Uh, yeah, I was just thinking about I want to get people's opinions on birthday gate because I know Ashley, I know you're of the opinion that they're trolling everybody. Um,
Yes, exactly.
yeah, we got to move that product. So those Camaros are not going to move themselves. Okay,
No, they are
they're
not.
not going to move themselves. Um, but yeah, birthday cake, because for those who may not know what we're talking about, the Stranger Things writers, I missed this. I guess it happened just like at the end of yesterday. Um, but they went out with the like, hey, there's something important. We feel like there's something important we're supposed to tweet about today, and we can't remember what it is. And then, um, yeah, we were giving the Duffers too much credit. Yeah. Well, I don't think they actually forgot. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely think that was they were playing people because people's comments were like, "11 anniversary," like, what? Like, people were scratching their heads, and then they were like wishing happy birthday um, to Matthew Modine, and then they were like, "Oh, wait," and then they were like, "Happy birthday, Will," and so then like I know the comments are full of people being like, "It's birthday gate. Are they just trolling us? Is it?" Like, did they actually forget, or the theory that like Vecna's just been messing with everybody? So I don't know if that was like a subtle nod to the fact that like they forgot what day his birthday was, or if there's actually like that's actually they're trying to plant a seed for something. And that's just my friend, and I'm like, guys, because they're not on Twitter anymore, and so I was like, guys, they brought back birthday gate, and they're like, what? And they shared that gift where Will's like, what? Made us all laugh.
A shame.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Anybody else
Birthday gate.
have any questions, comments you want to send to Jasmine and I? I have to go to the big ATL in the morning, so it's going to be really fun.
No. You can take your jet ski.
Ah.
Oh my god. Yeah. I was honestly
Mike.
expecting that.
Will's
I
going to
was
be like,
honestly.
you know what, Mike? My birthday was in March on spring break, and no one cared, and you didn't care, and you know what? I don't even care, and I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him go off. I really would like
Yeah,
that.
I
I
was
really would.
expecting that in volume 2. Like before they were like, oh, we made a mistake, I was expecting like Will to lose it and go all apeshit and be like, and you forgot my birthday, and and how do you not see this? Like I was expecting him to go. I was like, go off, kid, yes. And then it didn't happen. We didn't even get addressed. And then they're like, oh, we made a mistake. And so I'm like, I would love to see that. Like I thought Will was gonna go off, and I really want him to go off. I want him to fucking snap in season 5, not because like I think he's an angry person or whatever. It's just that like Will is that kid, and I think season 4 really showed this. He's the kid that sets himself on fire to keep everybody else warm, and he feels like a mistake, and he feels this type of way about himself, which I know a lot of people have identified with, and I really love him as a character. And so I want to see him have that moment. Like we've seen Elle have those moments where she's like, I'm not the monster, you are. Like we've seen her have that. And in their own ways, each of the characters I think has gone through that journey. Maybe except Jonathan, who's completely gone off the deep end. But I think the other characters, we've definitely seen them that progression or that realization about who they are and who they want to be. And I really want to see Will like finally like stand up for himself and stop setting himself on fire to keep other people warm and just go off and be like, and you forgot my birthday, and I can't believe you did this, and you've been a shitty friend, and I deserve better, and Elle deserves better. And also I want Elle to like realize what's happening. Like Will finally tells her, she sees the painting, she gets it, and she's like to Mike, she's like, what is wrong with you? Like you're being a shitty friend and a shitty boyfriend. Like how did you not see this? How we like, and for them to just be like, screw you, we deserve better. Not that I don't want Mike and 11 to be endgame. I'm not saying that. I want them to have their moment where they're like, they just go off and they're like, and you did this, and you did this, and you did this. Like,
Stop being so selfish.
yeah,
My girlfriend got
right?
arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I like Mike too. Like, I think Mike gets
yeah,
such a bad rap, and it's not even his fault. I mean, I think that's more on the writers than anything.
yeah,
What they decided, to do. So,
yeah.
yes, they do. They absolutely do. Like,
Seriously, therapy.
they
Yeah,
absolutely they need to have a therapy session at the end of the show. They absolutely
yeah.
do.
I'll go to therapy.
Like,
I'm
I
not here to
can't
hate
believe
on
that they've
Mike.
all thrived this long without having therapy.
Yeah, that's impressive. Yeah, I'm not here to hate on Mike. I want to see Will go off because we've seen him make himself smaller. You know what I mean, or put up with so much, and I want to see him go off. I was waiting for that in volume 2. We didn't get it, and season 5, I want him to see him have his moment and just go off. Because what I'm picturing too is that like Dustin and Lucas are just in the background being like, "Yeah, man, yeah, like we've been saying that for years. Go off." They're like, "Yep, yep," or they're like looking at Mike being like, "Dude, how did you not, dude?" So I just really want him to
Yeah.
have that moment.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, I would love that.
Jasmine, anything else that you want to talk about?
Oh, so do you think it's revealed that Vecna was the counselor? Ooh, like impersonating as the counselor? Oh, that's a good.
Oh, it's Mrs. Kelly.
Yeah.
I think there is something up to Mrs. Kelly. I mean,
Yeah.
her body language and the way
Mm,
she pressed Max, like, to me, like, not that I never, went to the guidance counselor, thank goodness, but I mean, I knew kids who did.
mm,
And from my understanding, like, the guidance counselor never did that kind of stuff. Like, they would talk,
mm,
she would talk with them, but if it was like any pressing psychological issue or anything like Max was dealing with, to me, that's when you recommend them to like a psychiatrist, a specialist, not
mm.
a high school guidance counselor who would be
Yeah.
doing all that. And especially like if you know what's going on with all of them, they're having random nosebleeds and headaches and all that. And then 3 of them, well, assuming 3, we don't know about if Patrick was seeing her, but Fred and Chrissy, when they end up dead, like, wouldn't you want to, get, something to look into that about,
Yeah.
something suspicious? So, yeah, I definitely think that Vector may have had some controls with her because it is very much a coincidence that she was seeing,
Mhm.
or that Fred, Chrissy, and Max were seeing her, and then what happened to them, and they all dealt with trauma and stuff. Um, I mean, it
Yeah,
could
like,
just be a coincidence, but
yeah. Like, the friend I watched said this too. It's like, it's not like, first of all, she has the key around her neck. That's for the clock. And I feel like we all thought that was coming back in volume 2. And then it's like, what happened with that? That's so, like, that can't be random. Also, the fact that Max goes to her and she's like, well, the police have it. Like, the police will handle it. And Max is like, yeah, like, I'm sure the police will handle it. Like, you have, like, I mean, presuming Patrick, but we know Fred and Chrissy and Max, and presumably Patrick. But I mean, like, you have 2 students, like, you have 3 students who, like, according to it's in their files, are all experiencing the same thing. Like you said, you would think that if that happened, you would, even before they died, like, if you had 3 students experience the exact same thing, I feel like that's a point where you're going to a therapist, you're going to a doctor, you're pulling the place, you're like, hey, like, obviously they don't know about the supernatural, but like, let's presume normal circumstances, I feel like you would be like, hey, is there something in the water? Like, are they being exposed to a chemical? You know what I mean? Like, because you know what I mean? Like, without supernatural is it's like, like my assumption would be, oh, they're hallucinating, or maybe they've been exposed to a chemical. Like they're all having nightmares, headaches, hallucinations, nosebleeds. Like, do you know what I mean? Like the fact that she's like, the police will handle it. I'm not
Yeah.
going to report this. I'm not going to,
Yeah,
talk to their families and be like, what are you being exposed to?
I think she would, like, legally she would have to, right?
Yeah,
Wouldn't you
that's
think
the
that?
thing. Like,
Yeah.
so I definitely think
Yeah.
either
I think
impersonating,
there is
or
more
they're
to her than
trying, or
meets
they're
the eye.
connected, or he's controlling her, or there's I agree. There's got to be something, because if there isn't anything up about that counselor, I don't know what the point of that was. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they could
Yeah.
have made her just be kind of incompetent, like they did with the police, if they were
Mhm.
just trying to, like, as a story mechanism. But they went a lot more into it in that. Like she gets more depth than I feel screen than the deputies ever do in like 4 seasons, because they're supposed to be the comic relief. And they're good at that. But they could have just I agree. There's got to be more to it than that. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. We better get
I
flashbacks.
hope so. But I hope it's, yeah. Yeah. I hope too they show it 11 as well, even though now we know how she got out, but just to, to maybe put some more clarity to, that she opened the gate and then the Morgan got out and then took Will.
Yeah.
Oh,
I agree. I 100% agree.
Yeah, definitely. I do think that
100%.
Will was the target. Yeah.
Yeah, and
and
my
why?
big theory on it.
Don't really know. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
my
why I
big theory
want
on
them to. Good. Did you have a theory?
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that I hope they explain why Will was the target. And I hope it is something that adds more to Henry's backstory, as really does Will, because we know more about Will than we do Henry Krill at this point. So
Yeah, my
yeah, that would be pretty awesome. Yeah.
There we go. I'm actually expecting, that de-aging software they use, since that's gotten more advanced. I think this was Gaten that said this, but that for season 4, they had this thing where they had to line up. That one of the reasons, like in between takes, they had to do this thing where they lined up and they did like digital molds, like of their heads and their bodies and stuff. And they mentioned some of the stuff they did with the CGI. At the time I didn't think it was that odd, but then after Volume 2 came out, it's like, well, there was no situation in which you would need a complete 3D model of like Dustin's head. Do you know what I mean? Like there was no, you needed that for Millie Bobby Brown, but you didn't need it for anybody else. So the fact that they spent time doing that, to me, I'm like, okay, there's got to be something they're doing, because that would be expensive, and you wouldn't spend that kind of time if you didn't need it. So that was so cool. That looked so like I couldn't even figure out how they'd done that until it got released. I was like, how did they do that?
Yeah.
And then when you saw, what was it? Like not only her, but when they done even just like the wigs and stuff, like it looked like she had shaved her head. Like they did such a good job. So my theories are like, well, they wouldn't do all these molds of the characters if, for no reason. So my theory is that like we're gonna see more flashbacks, or like you know how Vecna can like see into people's memories and stuff. We're gonna see definitely Ellen. I think possibly Will being able to access those powers. We're gonna see old memories. We're gonna see replays of stuff. Because otherwise, I'm like, why would they be doing all these digital moldings? There'd be no reason to do that. So yeah, definitely we're gonna see flashbacks. I hope we're gonna see Will, and then all that happened. I agree. I think Will was a specific target. I think the key to cracking it, they've talked about bringing full circle back to season 1. To me, I think the key to cracking it, if you look at Vecna like as a serial killer, right, their first few kills are always the most important in establishing an MO. You can tell I'm into true crime. Whatever connects Will and Barb and Henry. So whatever they have in common, and I have my own theory about this, but figuring out what those three have in common is, I think, the most important, because they're taking the same time here within days of each other. So whatever those two have in common, like, I agree. I think Will was a specific target, but I also think Barb was too, because that Demogorgon went out of its way to go to Steve's pool, which at the time didn't seem that odd. We thought, oh, it's just chasing people. But now it's like, well, it could have taken out like anybody, literally anybody. It went across town. Like if it got out of the lab, right? It went across town to get to Will and then came back across town to go get Barb. Like, you know what I mean? The Demogorgon could have taken anything or anyone in that time period. So I think it's connected, and I think it was specific. And in terms of the lore, I feel like that's how they tie it together. And I hope they're going to have enough time to get into that, because that's true. That's true. She was bleeding and Will wasn't. So it could not be connected.
Oh yeah,
I hope we
I
get
always
clarity on
forget
that,
she cut
though.
her hand on the can.
Yeah, but Will wasn't bleeding, but you're right, he wasn't. Yeah. So I hope we get clarity on that, because they kind of teased that with the flashbacks that we got, like the Vecna memories, or like not memories, but like when he was like messing with Nancy. So I hope we're coming back to that, and I hope we're gonna get actual clarity. Because if they just kind of leave it ambiguous, I'm gonna be so disappointed. Because the ambiguity up to now has been really cool, because you can like formulate your own theories. But if we get out of season 5 and we still don't know, like that's gonna be super disappointing to me. Because they've teased it, and I think something that season 4 did well is they came back to stuff I think most of us were not expecting. Was not expecting Steve and Nancy to come back. Was not expecting a big bad that was tying it all together. Like I knew we were going to have a big bad, but I wasn't expecting. It's like, oh yeah, there's been a plan all along. There's so many things about season 4 where they came back to stuff. Or like Susie made a reappearance. Like, not that she was in season 1, but I mean, you know what I mean? There's so many things they came back to, or brought full circle, or brought back around, that it's like, oh, I wasn't expecting that, but I love what you did there. So I think because they made such a point of that, I'll be really disappointed if they don't follow through and explain it, because they didn't need to. You know what I mean? Like they could have just kept going with what we had, like from the first 3 seasons through season 4 into season 5, and nobody would have questioned that. I don't think. You know what I mean? Like people would have been like, oh, that's weird. Like that makes sense. So if they brought all that stuff back just to gloss over it, that would be very dissatisfying. So I hope there is going to be the follow through, and I think there will be, because otherwise, I mean, season 4 was so long. If there's no plan for follow through, like season 4 was all set up, like that season was pointless. You know what I mean? Like if they don't actually follow through on it, like that would be odd. If they were like, just kidding, we're never gonna tell you what really happened to these poor kids. Just kidding. Like that would be weird. That would be a weird ending. Like, just kidding. They defeated Vecna, and that was the end of the story.
Well, I think I'm going to end the live now. I have to go to bed. I have to get up at like 5 a.m. in the morning to drive to Atlanta, and to be there for like 9 o'clock training, going through the Atlanta traffic. So,
Well, good luck tomorrow.
Thank you. So, thanks everyone for joining us for this live event. Thank you to Coffee Contemplation Podcast and Star Court Food Court for your questions and your comments. It was really fun hanging out with you guys, and I think we're going to do this again. Like, this was really fun. Just get in here and just let loose and talk about things that we normally don't get to really talk about on our show. And it was really fun. And if you want to watch a replay, if you weren't able to join us tonight, you can watch a replay on our YouTube channel. It'll be up there. You just go to the live tab. You can watch the entire thing. Again, that's what I usually do on lives that I miss. So yeah, just thanks again, everyone. And we'll see you again on Ham Radio Podcast. We got a super awesome episode. We're really excited about recording. Stancy episode. Jasmine's going to be leading the way on that one. So I'm sure she's really, really pumped about that. And of course, we'll let you guys know when it airs. So, yeah, good night, Coffee. Thank you again for joining us. It was fun.
Yes, thanks, everyone.
I think, yes. And so with that, we will say over and out. And until next time, thanks, guys. Bye.
Don't forget the jet ski giveaway.
Oh, yes. Yes. I will get on there and
providing
look up a
updates on the jet ski
Sea-Doo.
giveaway.
Yes. We will definitely do that. So gas is not included, by the way. You have to buy the gasoline yourself.
We'll keep you posted.
We cannot afford to do that. All right. Thank you guys again. Yeah. Jasmine, you'll get the bill. You'll get the rest of the bill in the mail. All right. Thank you guys again. And over and out.
Over and out.
Goodbye.